Okay, the reason it's good to learn about these trucks, doesn't matter if it's a Dodge, Ford, Chevy, good to learn what things are when they look like this, when they're rusted and sitting in a heap somewhere, is because that's how most people are going to get this stuff at a swap meet, in a yard, from a friend. It's sitting in a barn, rotting in somebody's yard, and they're not sure what they have, or they're not sure what's in it, or what's happened to it. So there are some things that are identifiable. I'm not going to get into the numbers games with the flathead 6 and all the variations, but to give you some things to look for, at least when you're looking at it. One thing is internal versus external bypass on the water pump. This is what an external looks like, and it has this guy right here. That's your external. Internal looks different. It does not look like this, but it's similar. It looks like this. There is no tube right here. I mean, that's self-explanatory what I just showed you. What you do find is that there's a bump on the head. The bump right there is where that water passage is. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Little bump on the head. Okay, hold it there, see if you can see it or not. It's real faint. I mean, it's when I look at it at the camera shot here, and when I look at it without the help of the camera, I can see it better. So I'm trying to get it to stand out. I'll put it in a little tighter. You can see that little bump right there on the head. So when you find a head like this off the engine, you know that it's for a internal bypass. Another thing, we'll go back to this. This is a 50 truck, by the way. Another thing to notice, this is what a truck accelerator linkage looks like, from the foot pedal to the carburetor. This is where your gas pedal is, right here. Pushes right on this guy, and this is all part of the linkage right here. Comes right over here. Here's a spring. It comes to the footboard I talked about on another video. Somebody welded those things, two ends together. Don't know why. Probably broke, or they were trying to get a better throw. I don't know. And then it comes up and connects to the carburetor, and you got your spring that comes across. Comes out of the splash panel, splash shield. You might call it inner fender shield. So there's that. That's something to notice when you're looking at them. A car has a different throttle linkage. That deal right there technically does not belong here because this is a truck. That's for a car. This is just a side note. Almost all, I mean, I don't know of a flat 6 that doesn't have this. This is for put your dial indicator to get your top dead center with the cylinder. You can also use it for vacuum when you're trying to get the your setup done right. Get the right pull on your vacuum. Coming back over to the car one, there's that same deal right there for the dial indicator. This is what their linkage looks like for a car. When I say they, because I consider myself a truck guy. So car guys are they. Not as in the enemy, but they're not truck guys. I'm not fortunate enough to be both car and truck. I didn't get that gene. Alright, so this is broken off right here, but broken in half. But it's the same. I wanted to show you this here. You see the flat. Whoops. Sorry. That flat part fits there like that. Anyway, this busted off. It happens. So you'd look at this and go, oh, internal bypass, throttle for a car. So you're thinking it came out of a car. And like I said, I'm not going to get into all the numbers part of it, where you could look at the numbers. We're just doing a quick visuals here. This is a 230 that came out of a truck. That is more typical of external oil filter, the bracket there. On those two other motors, they look different. This is what I'm used to seeing. And it also doesn't have the post. Oops, sorry. The head bolt doesn't have the post there that the cars use for the throttle. And there's the throttle there. Coming over to the same linkage we're showing on the engine that's right behind me. And this one also is external. So these heads, for the most part, all of them say, in some way or another, they say heater. And then there's another tap right here for water. And this one just happens to have the hose going nowhere. The water is pretty much going nowhere. It's not going to be heating up anybody. And then here's a head that I have off. I thought I'd show it to you. This one most likely came off of a car, but here's where for the water for the water pump. Notice there's no bump right there, so we can assume that this is a, what do you call it, external. Sorry, I had to flip it up. And that dial indicator access looks like that. That comes into the chamber. None of these have them. And that internal bypass, usually that bump is right there. You can see the hole, and the gaskets will also show you where that hole should be. I believe you can use internal bypass head gaskets on these external setups. The only reason I say that is because some trucks I've seen, the gasket is sticking out here, uncovered. So obviously it's working for somebody. And last thing is this deal. The factory did stamp these frames, and they're usually right here. They're never really in the same spot every time. They're usually from the factory stamp, usually from here to the front, somewhere in there. Not having looked at this one before, just give me a minute. You have to really look. Okay, right here. Only because I saw the scarring mark right there. There, you can see it. There's the numbers right there. If you're doing some kind of front end modification or something like that, these usually get cut, or they get removed, and there goes your history. It gets cut off and thrown away, and you won't know what your stamp said about your frame. So before you do all those modifications, it's probably a good idea to hunt for that and record it for whatever, just so you can sound smart when somebody asks you about your frame. All right, good luck with that.